Hello, everybody. I'm Cody Troyer.
And I'm Brent Gaisford.
And we are the Hugonauts. This time, we are listing a bunch of our favorite space operas and defining what is a space opera.
And don't forget to like and subscribe or whatever thing on whatever platform you are so you don't miss our episode next time, which will be about the best page-turner books that are out there. If you want to be glued to the page, if you want something to read at the beach that you forget and get a horrible sunburn, that kind of book.
Perfect. I'm familiar with sunburns. I've had many over my lifetime on the beach. This episode is sponsored by Lil Factory. Lil Factory is an independent publisher of beautifully made sci-fi and fantasy books.
Every Lil Factory title is released as a limited edition numbered hardback. No paperbacks, no ebooks, no audiobooks. These are books made to be held, kept, and returned to. Available now are 3 striking releases with Into the Great by Elliot Blake coming soon. Burns by David Polfelt is a poetic, quietly strange sci-fi meditation on loneliness and meaning. Brain Fruit by Stephen Oram explores memory, identity, and biotech gone sideways. And Mimeograph by Ira Aekre is a surreal, speculative work that refuses to fit a genre norm.
If you want science fiction and fantasy that's poetic, odd, and unapologetically niche, visit lilfac.com. What is a space opera?
What is a space opera? Yeah, so we were trying to make this list, and we did a little bit of like walks like a duck, talks like a duck, putting stuff on the list and then making the definition that way. But at the end of the day, what we came down to is that, first of all, it needs to be dramatic. That's very much in so space opera is from soap opera, right? Yeah. So, and so there's usually a bunch of characters, multi-POV, very focused on the character drama, less on the technology and ideas, although you can have both, but you definitely do need some character drama. And obviously you need some space. And then I think our addition to this is we said it really feels more space opera-y when there's like journeying between far off places on spaceships, like Interstellar Empire style. I don't know. Am I forgetting anything, or does that sound about right?
No, that's about right. I would say some of these don't have the multi-POV, but still feel like space operas. I think you're right. Walks like a duck, talks like a duck.
Needs to feel big, though, right? It's gotta feel big.
It's got to feel epic. It's got to be in space. To me, should be aliens involved. It's hard to tear this apart too semantically because then you just end up with science fiction.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we're going to list a whole bunch of these, 18 to 22, depending on how you're counting. We're clearly not good at it. Books that are great sci-fi space operas. And then at the end, we will each rank our top 3. So yeah, let's do this thing.
First, let's go with Lois, McMaster, Bujold, and the Vor Saga. Collection of, I believe, 23 episodic books that happen within her universe, the Vor universe, that are various tales about how strength and violence aren't always the answer. That's how I'd sum them up.
Yeah. They're super character driven. I love the Vorkosigan books very, very, very dearly. She's got really just the main characters are super likable. They're always not the strongest, and they have to solve problems other ways. But they're brilliant. So there's a lot of, I think they're competence porn books also. Everybody, the main characters are always really good at what they do, so they're fun to ride along with. Yeah, they're just super enjoyable. My one weird thing with these, I would say don't start with the first one. I think in general with her series, I think the second book is often better, really the case here. So I would start with Barry R if I were you and skip. You can come back to Shards of Honor if you want, but I definitely think it's, like there's 23 books in the series. Some of them are going to, the average is very good, but some of them are less good. And I think the first one is
and you could read them in any order, although there are suggested orders. I think Barry R is also a great starting point because of like quality, but also chronologically it works with some of the other best ones. It's kind of prequely.
Yeah, it's super early.
Cordelia Vorkosigan, mother of Miles Vorkosigan, one of the main characters in the series, and both such great characters. So definitely hitting all the space opera points, other than aliens.
Okay, so next is another very long series. A lot of space opera series have a ton of books. they're not always all good, but this is 2 in a row that mostly are. So we're going to go with The Expanse by James S.A. Corey, the writing duo. So they wrote 9 Expanse books, which are basically all just really solid, super good. None of them is like a 5 for me, like one of the best books ever, but they're all just 4s. Every time I open one, I love it. I have a fun time. The scope keeps expanding as the series goes. The first book is all in the solar system, and then maybe that's going to change, and it just keeps getting bigger and more fun, and you're following characters everywhere. Yeah, it's great.
And The Mercy of Gods, their new series that the first book came out last year, is also, I think, has a lot of promise.
Yeah, that's definitely space opera too. Lots of aliens, even more aliens than.
I bring it up because I think it's probably more space opera-y than The Expanse.
I feel like The Expanse is still.
Well, The Expanse is like human solar system. Expanded planets.
It's a little military sci-fi too. Although a lot of space opera and military sci-fi and space opera, I feel like, are like sort of parallel lines. They're pretty close often.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We cut a bunch of stuff that felt more like military sci-fi to us. We'll do that. We'll do a future episode on great military sci-fi stuff, and we'll put those things there. So we tried to keep stuff like the Vorkosigan saga has a lot of space battles. Same with The Expanse, but yeah.
I think it's hard not to have crossover in space opera because it feels like we were talking about with definitions. Like if you expand the definition too broadly, it just sounds like any science fiction book could be a space opera.
Yeah, there's space and there's characters. Whoa, yeah.
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 So of course, there's a lot of crossover. Another one. Let's talk about Hyperion by Dan Simmons and Fall of Hyperion. But Hyperion, the book formatted like the Canterbury Tales, with the characters on a pilgrimage to the mysterious planet, where there's a crazy the planet Hyperion, where there's a time labyrinth and a crazy monster called the Shrike. I think it just, it hits every note, right? It covers a ton of other subgenres of sci-fi within itself. The first novel, at least, Hyperion. And we've got intergalactic travel, monsters, not as much alien in this one, but a lot of thinking about artificial intelligence, and just has that grand scope of like the fate of the universe.
Yeah. And and the Shrike is, I don't know what the hell the Shrike is. He's scary though, and he's not human. So I guess an alien? I don't know. Maybe it's been too long since I read the second, third, and fourth ones. I'm revealing myself. I really love the first one. I love Hyperion, but these days I don't read the later ones anymore. I've read Hyperion several times, but I don't read the later ones anymore.
Well, it's 2 duologies, right? So you just read Fall of Hyperion again because it's great, I think. But Endymion, Rise of Endymion are kind of their own thing.
Right. Yeah.
Also good.
If you're not if you haven't read Chaucer recently, when Cody says it's formatted like the Canterbury Tales, what that actually means is there's 7 stories, each told from a different character's point of view. So now you can sound fancy next time you're telling someone about a story format that's like that. You'd be like, oh yeah, it's like Chaucer. Or is it Chaucer? I don't even know how to say the guy's name. I'm not fancy
Chaucer.
Chaucer. Okay, fine.
I thought you were making a reference to some other academic who talked about Chaucer. I thought you said Chauster. I was like, I think you made it more obscure.
No, I just don't even know the guy's name.
Chaucer,
did I tell
Chaucer.
you
It could very well be who knows. Yeah.
I was at an Airbnb last year, and I often do this where I'll intentionally not bring a book and try to just read a thing wherever I am, because it's a way to read different stuff that's outside my comfort zone. Anyway, I read the first little bit of Canterbury Tales. I was only there for a few days, so I couldn't read it all. But I really enjoyed it. I'm going to read it at some point. It's super long though.
Yeah, they're fun. It's like, there's lots of fart jokes. I
did notice that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Literature, is that common in highbrow literature?
It's a good argument for like things becoming highbrow over time that were once appealed to the masses, and people would have been like, this is bogus. This isn't literature. That then they become popular enough that they become classic literature, right?
Yeah, Anna Karenina is full on is just a regular soap opera. I was not expecting a soap opera, but it's like, oh, this is just a soap opera from the 1800s, but now I guess it's a classic. Anyway, it's good, but it's a soap opera. Okay.
Dickens is another great example.
Oh, yeah, just like pop. It was just pop.
Yeah, it's like a TV show serial, but now, okay.
So
none of which are space operas.
Well, no. Okay, so next on the list is House of Suns by Alistair Reynolds, which is no aliens. Well, hold on. There's a lot of weird stuff happening. It's so far in the future, it's hard to say if they're just human descendants or aliens or whatever. But
I would say it's alien. I would say aliens. It's alien enough.
It feels alien, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 2 million years in the future, and our main characters are a couple who travel around the entire circumference of the galaxy on a regular basis, just going near the speed of light. So barely any time passes for them, but each circuit takes them 200,000 subjective years. And crazy technology, super big scope. Obviously, the Andromeda galaxy has disappeared for them. That's kind of one of the big mysteries. And so obviously an entire galaxy disappearing from the night sky is kind of a big mystery. Yeah, just super fun. To me, it's like the prototypical space opera. The scope is so big and the questions are so big and everything is so crazy and just so much everything. Yeah, really fun.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the first ones that came to mind for me as well. And it's also nice because it's standalone, where Alistair Reynolds has a lot of space opera stuff. House of Suns is like, you can read it, you got it, good. It's less daunting.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it was the
like,
first non-series on our list here. Yeah.
Yeah, less daunting than like starting a 9-book series with The Expanse, for example. Although, travel at your own peril, because something like Expanse, you end up reading all 9 of them right in a row because you can't stop.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we have something you've heard a lot about on the show over the years: Children of Time, the children series. Adrian Tchaikovsky. Children of Time is the first book in the series, and I mean, quintessential example. Half the book, spiders and how they evolved to be into intelligence and to technology levels beyond our current technology levels as spiders. And then the other half about humans and relativity in an arc ship that is escaping Earth and looking for a new planet to plunk down onto, and what it's like being Holston Mason, the main character, is waking up at these really long intervals and then going back into cryospace. So what it's like for him, like seeing how culture and society develops on the ship as he deletes large chunks of time. And Tchaikovsky also has another series that's newer, the Final Architecture series, which is like dead-on space opera, lots of aliens, lots of characters, crazy stakes, things going on that I've also really enjoyed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he feels like one of our space opera-ist modern writers.
Yeah. I mean, Tchaikovsky really explores a lot of different stuff. Mostly from the foundation of thinking about, his biology background. But yeah, there's only things to love about Tchaikovsky, in my opinion.
Next on the list is going to be Fire Upon the Deep by Vernor Vinge. This is a book that's near and dear to my heart because it was one of the first books that we read when we first were starting the show. I'd read a lot of sci-fi before, but obviously we wanted to read a lot more. And this is one of the first things I read on the show that just blew my mind and I loved and I couldn't believe I hadn't read before. It is grand scale for sure, journey all across the galaxy, but you also have one group of characters who are aliens on one small world that's about they're pack animals, kind of like wolves, but sort of like rodents. Anyway, and their technology level is roughly medieval. So you've got this like grand interstellar chase across the galaxy while you have this like medieval battle happening between these really cool aliens at the same time. It's really great. And I really love it. It's also basically a standalone. There's sort of a sequel and a prequel, but they're loosely connected and feels like its own thing.
Yeah. It also has a lot of really interesting biological concepts in it, among the aliens, like the tines, the dog species.
This is also one I try not to collect too many books. I read way too many books. My house would be literally covered if I kept physical copies of all the books I've read, but I love this one so much I did keep the book. And I think this book is one that you can just tell it's a space opera from the front cover. There's some sort of huge spaceship that's vaguely indeterminate what's really happening, but it's just trying to evoke a big scale. Anyway, this is space opera. And I also feel like this is the 1990s. Like this is just what book covers were like then. And I think there was also a lot more space operas in the 90s. It feels like we're kind of out of the space opera era a little bit.
Maybe you're right. Here comes this next one, 80s, 90s. The Culture series. Well, is it 90s, 2000s? I know it goes to
I
the
think
2000s.
90s, 2000s.
90s, 2000s. The Culture series by Iain M. Banks, which is one of my favorite. It is 9 books. They're all fairly standalone. It's a far, far future. There is a society called the Culture that's essentially run by AI minds, and there are AI ships as well. But there are humans in from all sorts of different parts of the galaxy that are part of the Culture or not part of the Culture or participate in it loosely. But the Culture ostensibly thinks its way of life is the best, and it should. But it doesn't try to compete with others too much, other than the first book, Consider Phlebas, which we recommend probably not reading.
This is another skip the first book in the series.
Yeah, some aliens, but it has a lot of really interesting ideas about humanity, what it's like to be human, what are the advantages of technology, how could we organize a society that's beneficial to all. It's one of the greatest examples probably of post-scarcity lit, what a society looks like if we don't have to compete for resources. It's just ton of really interesting ideas and some really great characters and novels. Our 2 favorites probably being Player of Games and Use of Weapons out of the 9. But there are a lot of great ones. I like them all. I consider Phlebas, the first one, meh, but every other one I've loved.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is one up there with House of Suns for feeling like the most futuristic, the most crazy advanced technology. The Culture is really interesting. They have all the thing that he does in the Culture that I really like a lot is he does a lot of what would be possible if you could make incredibly precise and powerful force fields, use them to like lift objects and control things. And, it's a really fun thought experiment. A lot of really cool things you could do with that if it were possible, which it seems like it should be eventually.
Yeah. Next, we have another modern space opera master in Peter F. Hamilton, when we were trying to list which one we'd even talk about, it's basically all of his best novels and series. I mean, you've got the Void trilogy, which is fantasy sci-fi hybrid that's really fascinating. I think he blends it really well. I won't say too much more about that, but that's probably my favorite. You got the Commonwealth Saga, Great North Road, which is a standalone novel, and it's mostly about Earth, but it's got a lot of portals, and it does have really fascinating
Peter
alien
Hamilton
life.
Loves a portal.
Yes. And it's Salvation, which also is about portals, but more overt aliens coming in contact with Earth and dealing with Earth, but a lot of interesting futurism about the society of Earth as well. Again, like he talks a lot about UBI and interesting thinking about universal basic income. There's like so much in each of these novels and series. He's an excellent world builder.
Yeah, also literally they're extraordinarily long. That dude writes long books. The Commonwealth Saga is just 2 books long, but I think combined they're like 60 hours or something on audiobook. It's ludicrous. I think that might be an undercount.
At this point, I think I've started to get a nerd to the length of things. And since I'm always on audiobook, like I never, see the size of a book, so I'm not as scared by it maybe, but other than 1Q84, which is like 60 hours or something by Murakami, that I'm still scared to go into, maybe Anathema, but what would you call a long book now? What is a long book to you?
To me, anything over like more than 20 hours feels long. Yeah. Okay. And I think I get maybe a little more freaked out than you. I think you do slightly more audiobook listening than I do. But also I get my audiobooks mostly from Libby, and my library does 3-week loans. So if I can't finish it in 3 weeks, like one of the reasons I still haven't read any Brandon Sanderson, I just need to get the physical copies basically, because I read those faster. But yeah, the Brandon Sanderson books are all more than 35 hours long. Am I confident? And there's a wait for all of them. So that means I'm not going to be able to renew. I really only get 3 weeks, and my confidence factor on knocking it out in 3 weeks is just not high enough.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Yeah, I think my line is about 30 hours on audiobook to start thinking
A little
long.
more
And it also
forgiving.
depends on the author. Like a Peter F. Hamilton that's 35 hours, I'm like, all right, strap in. Definitely Anathema, definitely a Neil Stephenson that's really long. A Stephen King that's 35 hours feels like 8. I don't know what the deal is there, but like The Stand, Under the Dome, whatever, it feels like it goes by like that.
Yeah.
More on that later. What's next?
Next is Embassytown by China Mieville. So this is a standalone book that takes place on a planet at the edge of sort of civilized / human
Navigable
empire
space.
controlled. Navigable space.
Yeah.
And
It's
there
the edge
are
of
some
space-time.
Yeah, some aliens there who communicate really strangely. They sort of communicate, they speak with multiple voices independently, basically, at the same time. It's
Language.
I speak language. Yeah, the audiobook is really great. The way they do that in the audiobook is they record the same person saying the same thing, like overlaid on itself twice. Anyway, it's a fun bit. And yeah, it's just super, super well done. Really great mysteries. High stakes, good characters. China Mieville's a really talented writer. It's a really interesting one too. Really great space opera, but also a good way to explore sort of ideas about language and about the way you think and how language impacts the way you think and how, the ideas you are capable of having.
Yes, totally. My hot take is that China Mieville has the most interesting imagination of any human.
That's
I
high
think.
praise. I mean, he's written a lot of really different, really crazy books. So yeah, I mean, you've got a case to make for that. All right, what's next?
Next will be Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martine, which is a kind of a political space opera about a future, galaxy with humans. Think kind of Star Warsy. There's a Senate planet like Coruscant in Star Wars, but representatives from all over the galaxy, from planets and stations, come to deal in politics. And the main character is coming from a smaller mining station and is kind of fish out of water with the customs and all of the propriety of what it's like to be in this place and in the Galactic Senate. And it's kind of an espionage diplomacy thriller, which is why I think it stands out a little bit. There's not as much, there's plenty of action, but it's more, how do we get out of this problem with diplomacy or trickery or our minds and cleverness, kind of like Vorkosigan books, which makes it interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, these definitely are space opera. I will also say I definitely do not like this series.
I like it.
Yeah, for sure. That's just fun to disagree. The main character is constantly saying things like, "Ooh, aren't we so interesting and political?" And it's like, well, maybe you could just like be interesting instead of saying you're interesting, for instance. But yeah. Anyway, they are. Yeah, anyway, they're a couple good books. I'm glad I read them. I will not read them again. Am I glad I read them? Let's move on. Next is
okay. Well, let's move on. Let's just deepen the pit. We're gonna put Dune on the list for you guys because we know that everyone's gonna cause a stink.
And it is definitely a space opera. For all the things that it is, it's for sure a space opera.
It's for sure a space opera. It's definitely, does it belong on the list when we say these are the best space opera books? Not in our opinion, but the movies do.
And the story is really interesting. I just don't like his writing style. So here's what I'll say about Dune.
And the world building.
I really liked
it.
Yeah, the world building is incredible. I really liked it the first time I read it. The second time I read it, I just went, oh my God, I wish this book was half as long. And so I think Dune will be a great book I was looking this up for the episode, in 2061, Dune will enter the public domain. So then we can make the abridged version, and that is gonna slap. So just hold out hope for that.
Well, we already have the Denis Villeneuve version, which is really good. So
sure.
Maybe that's good enough. Okay, but now no one can yell at us about Dune. I guess they still can because we said we didn't like it. But All right. Here's another more modern one. And that is Ancillary Justice, which is the first book in the Imperial Ratch trilogy. What am I blanking on the?
Yeah. There are a lot. It's mostly humans on screen. There's some aliens who are scary, but they're off in the distance. They're never center stage. They're just sort of like a big, bad, scary thing outside the Empire. But the Empire is built by humans and AI that they control, and then those AIs slaves. And so you get to explore all those different characters, the slaves, the AI, and the humans all together mostly.
Yeah, and it's got that big feel, high drama, especially the first one. What's going on? How are we going to get out of this? It's told in kind of like a flashback to current timeline jumble that's really interesting, that keeps the mystery alive. And Ann Leckie, who we have had on the show, and who is fabulous. Go watch that one if you haven't. She's so fun and so fun to talk to. Great interview. But has written a couple other books that are in that universe that are also good. And you get to see a little bit more of the aliens in them. So
I'll say this is the reverse. The first book, Ancillary Justice, is I think it might be one of my top 10 favorite sci-fi books of all time. I don't like the sequels as much. So anyway, with this series, definitely start with the first one.
Well, they're also serial. So I did like the second and the third, and I like the other two. So, but Ancillary Justice, definitely the best. Okay. CJ Cherryh?
Yeah, CJ Cherryh, Downbelow Station. So CJ Cherryh wrote a series of novels about a bunch of planets that are all linked by trade. So there's these big interstellar trading vessels, and there's these warring factions, classic big space opera stuff. They're very long, definitely door stoppers. I really liked Downbelow Station quite a bit. Solid for really good ideas about how there's the subservient alien class who the bad guys just totally disregard and think they're they're just dumb aliens, whatever. And then they come through and save the day. Would you believe it? But they're fun. And the idea of the trading empire in space is these big trading companies is sort of fun. And I think it makes absolutely no sense, but it's a really fun idea to explore, and it feels like our own history a little bit, like human history. So anyway,
yeah, there's a lot of good. I think the reason it works is because there's so many corollaries to human nature and human history, and just explored in an alien environment. Like the best science fiction, you're really thinking about core concept stuff, but in such a weird fictional environment that it almost hits harder.
Yeah.
Injustice.
Yep.
How about another? Well, this one's kind of Injustice. It goes a lot of places, but the Mote in God's Eye.
Yeah. Larry Niven and Jerry Pournelle.
Yep.
Another co-written book. This one is humanity discovers some aliens. Humanity has a big interstellar, I don't think they're technically an empire, big interstellar civilization, meet some aliens, really excited about it. And, the aliens seem like they're being really forthright, but there's some stuff that seems a little bit strange about them. What's really going on with these aliens? So it's a fun mystery, big stakes, and, classic multi-character stuff. Yeah, it definitely just fits the bill. I really, really, really like it. I think it's great. It's got to be from the 70s, right? It feels like it's from the 70s.
I don't remember, but it does have that feel. 70s or 80s.
If it's not 70s, it's got to be the 80s. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, and it's a standalone. Short. Well, actually, it's a short standalone. It's probably the shortest book on this list in terms of it just being a single book, and it's short. So anyway, yeah, if your attention span is short, this is the one for you. That's what Larry Niven, I'm sure, would like us to say about that book.
Yeah. It's enjoyable. I didn't like it quite as much as you, but I also liked it. All right. How about some David Brin, another person we've also had on the show, Startide Rising.
Yeah. So this has aliens, and this is part of his Uplift series. So the core conceit is there are humans and aliens, sort of intelligent species, and then you evolve animals from your planet into a sentient species, and then in exchange they have to be your slaves for 1,000 generations or something ridiculous like that. Anyway, we decide that we're going to uplift dolphins, but we're not going to make them be slaves, and the rest of the universe is deeply affronted at that. So it's Startide Rising is actually the second book in the series, more highly regarded than the first, Sundiver, but it stands alone really well, and it's about a ship mostly crewed by dolphins that's trying to escape sort of an interstellar what's the equivalent of a manhunt but for a spaceship hunt? That doesn't really roll right off the tongue.
You get the point.
Yeah, it's really fun. Tons of characters jumping around between all their points of view. Very classic space opera.
Yeah, lots of crazy aliens who you're also seeing their side of things as like the bad guys as they're coming in to the planet that the dolphins have crash landed on, and it all converges, and there's something going on with the planet itself. A lot of cool ideas and cool action at the same time. So pretty quintessential.
Did you read the one? So that book won, I think it won the Hugo and the Nebula. And then the Uplift War, the next book in that series, won one of the two. I can't remember which. Anyway, did you read the Uplift War?
I have
about
not,
the chimpanzees? No. Okay. It's about chimpanzees and gorillas. I know some people really like it. I don't. Don't tell David Brin I said that. But I love Startide Rising. Everyone should read it.
Yeah, definitely. And then we also have a Becky Chambers on here, which is the long way to a small angry planet. That's a good representation for that whole series. Yeah,
it's the first one too.
Yeah, and this I think is space opera in the most literal sense. If you're saying that the term came from soap opera, because Becky Chambers writes stuff that has small kind of interpersonal conflicts as the meat, and a lot of great weird alien characters, but who have human problems, and it's all at a scale that is kind of cozy, right? It's more about their relationships or someone's problem getting food or things like that. But it does happen in space with spaceships, and there's space pirates and all these things, but it's not as much about like take over the evil empire, destroy this alien technology, etc. You know, the things that we're
it's more like just feel
to.
like that you can get close enough to these cozy aliens you're meeting for them to like become your found family, and you can learn about their cuisine.
Yes.
Kind of a thing. This book would definitely belong on this series at least belongs on cozy fiction lists too. It is really nice, and I've really liked this first one quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next. And we interviewed Becky. We have a Becky Chambers interview too. Check that out. She's extremely interesting. One of her parents worked for NASA, right? Super shocking. She ended up thinking about space.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the last of the list before we get to our top three. We're going to do one real throwback to the OG days of sci-fi, Foundation by Isaac Asimov. We're going to recommend here the original trilogy. The first three Foundation books. There are more later, but the first three are definitely better. So that's Foundation Empire, and Second Foundation, which is the third book in the series. He's not good at titles, but he is good at writing space opera. It's about a big galactic empire.
Sans aliens.
Yeah, no aliens. Yeah, but it's about a big galactic empire that's falling apart, and some people who are trying to sort of make the rise of the basically avoid the collapse being too calamitous for humanity as a whole. So it's sort of reminiscent. It feels kind of like people trying to shorten the Dark Ages after the fall of the Roman Empire kind of a thing, but in space. There's a lot of like logic puzzles, which you probably didn't need me to say because I already said it was by Isaac Asimov. So yeah.
Yeah, and this is another one too. I don't think there's a gulf, in my opinion, as there is between Dune and the Dune movies, but the Foundation show on Apple TV is really good and a lot wildly different than the novels. A lot of new characters, whatever, and I think makes it way more space opera-y because there's so many characters and different points of views, and you're seeing these things versus the original Asimov, which is really also classic Asimov, conversations between two dudes about stuff, telling you what's happening.
Yeah, it's two dudes smoking cigars while they like slowly reveal. They just the way you find out about what's happening out in the big world is they mention to the other guy like, well, my fleets are attacking your fleets as we speak, and the other guy's like, no, how dare you? But you don't actually see the fleets fighting, anyway,
which is weirdly like super engaging in my opinion, especially in the first novel.
Yeah, he's good at it.
But I just point out that the television show is like different and really good and more of a space opera than the books, I think. What'd you say?
I said they didn't do it Dinner with Andre style.
Just okay. We want to give one final shout out to this episode's sponsor, Lil Factory. Visit lilfact.com to learn more about this unique indie publisher. So that's our list. We just wanted to throw out a ton of choices for you if you want to read some space operas. And now we're going to do, I'll have you start, Brent, our top 3, 3, 2, 1, back and forth.
3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm going to do, this is so hard. Okay, but I'm going to do The Expanse for my number 3.
Okay.
Really enjoyed them. A lot of really fun battles, kept the pages turning, and the consistency is really high. Unlike almost everything else on this list, I think every book in that series is quite good. So none of them is my favorite, but they're all really entertaining. I'd recommend them all. And they're just fun. Anyway, yeah, okay, The Expanse. I'm done saying that I like them.
Well, yeah, I'm going to say the exact same thing. Expanse is also my number 3.
Is it really?
Same reasons you said. But I think what makes it, like, each book is there's maybe not a 5 out of 5 in the pile, but the whole series is easily 5 out of 5 because it's so consistent and it delivers on something that I think is really hard to do, especially across 9 books, which is that each book has its own little arcs that are really fascinating, but also the arc that starts in 1 doesn't end till 9 and stays interesting the whole time and builds a little bit at a time as you go through. And so by the time you're finished, you're probably weeping, and it's been a huge journey.
Yeah, for sure.
Number
Do you
2
remember
for you?
where you were when you finished The Expanse? Were you like at the grocery store just weeping uncontrollably?
No, I don't remember.
Section?
I don't remember that. I only remember those types of moments, specifically the grocery store, when I'm reading like a hypersexualized scene and I'm like picking out Honey Nut Cheerios and I'm like, ugh, this is the wrong environment for this. Anyways.
Smut and cereal. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My number 2, I'm having a really hard time generally listing these. I'm literally waffling as we do this, but I guess I'm going to go with the Vorkosigan Saga by Lois McMaster Bujold. I love them. I love the characters. It's so much about the characters and what they can pull off. So yeah, they're my number 2, but there are, that first one, Shards of Honor, I think is fine. Seed of Ganda, I also think is fine. So anyway, I'm putting it number 2 because there are some books in that series I don't like as much. So, but yeah, I really, really, really love them. And I think Miles Vorkosigan is my favorite character in science fiction. So
wow,
people, they belong on my list. He's so great.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. All right. My number 2 is Hyperion, Dan Simmons. I've always loved the book, everything about it. What more is there to say? It's amazing. Love it.
What's your favorite story? What's your favorite sub-story from Hyperion?
Probably the priest story. But I don't even know if I could rank them. There's a couple that are like 4 out of 5s, but there's a bunch that are 5 out of 5s.
I mean, the priest story is a good strong start, and that's also one of the first ones in the book. So you just pick the book up and just read the first part, and then you're really looped in. Okay.
Yep. Number 1. You're changing your list in real time. I can see your list on the page, and none of them have been this. So what?
Yes. Okay. My number 1, I'm going with Fire Upon the Deep.
Okay. So you just flipped the whole thing.
Yeah, because it stands alone. You don't feel. There are other books, but they're just related. It's more like they're set in the same universe. So it feels like it stands alone. It's incredible. It's got some of the best aliens I've ever read. It made me super emotional. It's got really interesting the world is huge and interesting to learn about. There's this idea of like different parts of the galaxy with different rules. Anyway, I just think that there's so many things done well. And to me, it's like the quintessential space opera with this big, huge scale. The fate of the universe or the fate of the galaxy is in the balance, but we're also really focused on this, it all comes down to our individuals who are so great in their struggles. So yeah, I loved it.
Okay. Yeah. The hero's journey on top. My number one's going to be the Culture series. Iain M. Banks, particularly Player of Games and Use of Weapons. Those two novels just, they hit me like a sledgehammer. And the ideas, the technology ideas, the philosophical ideas, and the characters, I just absolutely loved. And I can't say enough about a book, Player of Games, that is about basically a board game that has like planet-wide stakes, and it's still really, really interesting, and feels like you're reading an action story while they're just playing this game. So that to me is insane. It's different. They're so good. I love Iain M. Banks.
For sure. Nice. This is an enormous non sequitur, but you just talking about that board game sparked a thought for me. Did you see that a bunch of people are suing Hasbro, saying that Hasbro has been printing too many Magic the Gathering cards and diluting the value of existing? So anyway, you're my friend who loves Magic. Have they ruined your collection's value?
I don't know. I sold it a long time ago. I just draft now, man. I'm just in it for the fun. And now that I have kids, I don't even play that much
You've been
anymore.
fueling all their reckless printing by buying new cards, Cody. God.
I guess I could see.
You should be hoarding them like a dragon's pile. That's what they're for.
Yeah, I think that whole thing is, to me, it's the idea is like, what did you think they were gonna do? What is a company going to do?
Yeah,
they're going to try to make less money, especially under Hasbro ownership. It's too bad. Sure. I do not think it's great for the game, but oh well. What can you do?
Sure. All right, come here for your Magic the Gathering takes, everybody.
And read some space operas.
Yeah, this was fun. I'm really glad we did this.
See you next time for Page Turners.
I mean, that'll be fun too. We're starting off the year hot. Keep reading, dude.
Later.